Hello everyone, so in this video I am going to cover the liver pathology. So as this is the normal structural unit of the liver, now in the center of it there is central vein is present. Central vein is present and here the portal triad which contains the hepatic duct, lobules and veins. Now hepatic artery, veins and hepatic ducts were present in the portal triad. Now these were the hepatocytes and in the center it is a sinusoid. So the space between the hepatocytes and the sinusoids is known as the space of Dissay. So space of Dissay is a space between the hepatocytes and the sinusoids, and here there is amyloid deposition is occur, and in the space of Dissay itocells were present. So itocells were present in the space of Dissay. So itocells stores the vitamin A. So vitamin A storage is seen in the itocells. Now these hepatocytes were combined together by attached together by canals of hearing, and these were the oval cells or stem cells we can say. Now the bilirubin metabolism. So how the bilirubin metabolism will occur? So hemoglobin as it breaks into the heme component and the globin part. So heme gets with the help of heme oxygenase enzyme it converted into the biliverdin, and biliverdin with the help of biliverdin reductase it converted into the bilirubin, and this bilirubin is a unconjugated bilirubin, or we can say it is indirect bilirubin because it is water insoluble, Now this bilirubin is combined with the help of albumin, it get transported into the liver. So this bilirubin is in the unconjugated form. So in the liver, bilirubin is converted into from the unconjugated form into the conjugated form. So here it converted from unconjugated to conjugated form, which is when the bilirubin is converted into conjugated form with the help of UGT. So UGT stands for UDP glucuronidase transferase. So UDP stands for UDP glucuronidase transferase. So UGT is here the bilirubin is converted into the conjugated form, which is also known as direct bilirubin water soluble. That is known as direct bilirubin, that is water soluble. Now this conjugated bilirubin moves outside with the help of MRP2, that is MRP2. Please remember this MRP2, and if it present in the stool then it is known as stercobilinogen, and if it is present in the urine then it is known as urobilinogen. Now some bilirubin it's again go back to the liver, that is known as enterohepatic, means again entry of the bilirubin into the hepatic, means into the liver, and recirculation is there. So enterohepatic recirculation is there. Now this is all about the bilirubin metabolism. Now let's move to the hyperbilirubinemia, means there is increase in the bilirubin amount. So if there is increase in bilirubin amount, then it causes the jaundice. So jaundice is caused by hyperbilirubinemia. So bilirubin may be increase of unconjugated bilirubin, or it may be due to increased level of conjugated bilirubin. So unconjugated bilirubin is increased by increase in hemolytic anemia, Crigler-Najjar syndrome, or we can say Gilbert syndrome. So Crigler-Najjar syndrome were type 1 and type 2. So type 2, here we remember that Crigler-Najjar syndrome type 2 is autosomal dominant, while all other were autosomal recessive. Now the conditions in which we find the increase of conjugated bilirubin were due to the obstruction. Obstruction is due to stones, stricture, cancer, or we can say clonorachis. Now for increased conjugated bilirubin we can remember the DR, that is Dubin-Johnson syndrome and Rotor syndrome. So conjugated bilirubin is increased in doctor, means DR, that is Dubin-Johnson syndrome and Rotor syndrome. And also in the biliary disease we find the increased level of conjugated bilirubin. Now let's learn about some unconjugated bilirubin like Crigler-Najjar type 1, Crigler-Najjar type 2 and Gilbert syndrome. All other were autosomal recessive except the type 2 Crigler-Najjar syndrome, which is autosomal dominant. Please remember this point. It is previous year questions. Now In these three conditions, there is decrease direct bilirubin, because here the condition is increase of unconjugated bilirubin, means there is decreased level of UDP glucuronidase transferase, that is UGT. So conjugated bilirubin is not formed because there is decreased level of UGT. So here there is increased level of unconjugated bilirubin. Now, in Crigler-Najjar type 1, there is 100% absence of UGT, and in type 2, there is partial deficiency of UGT, while in the Gilbert, there is very mild deficiency of UGT. So, 100% deficiency in type 1 Crigler-Najjar syndrome. In type 2, there is partially deficiency, while in the Gilbert there is very mild deficiency, and this deficiency is manifest only when the person is under the stress, only when the person is under stress. We can treat the Crigler-Najjar type 2, in which there is partial deficiency of UGT, by the phenobarbital, So, type 1 Crigler-Najjar syndrome is 100% fatal. Now, let's move to the biliary disease. And biliary disease, there is increased level of conjugated bilirubin. Now, it is PBC or PSC, that is primary biliary cirrhosis and primary sclerosing cholangitis. So, these were the two conditions of the biliary diseases. Now, in the PBC, there is defect in intrahepatic bile duct. How we can remember that? In the biliary, I letter comes, so here is intrahepatic, while in the sclerosing, both E and I letter comes, that's why it is extra and intrahepatic both. So here the defect in extrahepatic as well as intrahepatic bile duct. So in both the conditions, antibodies were present. So in that PBC, anti-mitochondrial antibody is present. So mitochondria comes from the mother. So here the most common gender involvement is female. So here the most common gender involvement is female. While in the primary sclerosing cholangitis, that is PSC, gender involvement is male. And in this, PNK is seen. So antibody PNK is seen, and PSC is associated with ulcerative colitis, because in ulcerative colitis also PNK is seen. In ulcerative colitis also PNK seen. Now in the PSC, there is onion skinning is seen. Onion skinning is seen with PSC. In the center we see the biliary duct, and around it there is onion skinning is present. So here I am going to tell you that conditions in which we find the onion skinning. So onion skinning is found in myelin figures, in the Samoma bodies, in the Tay-Sachs disease, in the spleen of the SLE conditions, and in the blood vessels, that is hyperplastic arteriosclerosis, in the PSC, as I told you in this video, and in the radiology condition, that is Ewing sarcoma. Please remember that in all these conditions we see the onion skinning. Now this point I already told you that Crigler-Najjar type 2 is autosomal dominant, and rest all other were autosomal recessive. Now move to the DR, that is Dubin-Johnson syndrome and Rotor syndrome. In both these conditions we see the increased level of conjugated bilirubin. Now in both these conditions there is defect in there is excretory problem. There is excretory problem is seen in both, while in both these conditions we see the liver defect, that is in this we see the pigmented liver defect, while in this we see the non-pigmented liver. So pigmented liver is seen in Dubin-Johnson syndrome because due to the epinephrine. So why we see the pigmented liver in the Dubin-Johnson syndrome, while in the Rotor syndrome we see the non-pigmented liver? Because in the Dubin-Johnson syndrome we see the pigmented liver due to the epinephrine. So now let's move to the cirrhosis. So the cirrhosis, as we see, these were the nodules, and nodules may be micro as well as macronodular. Micro we say when the size is less than 3 mm, macro we say when the size is more than 3 mm. So in between the nodules we see the fibrous septae. So fibrosis by stellate cells is due to the collagen type 1 and type 3. So in the liver, type 1 and type 3 both were involving. Please remember this. And fibrosis is by stellate cells. So fibrosis is by stellate cells. Now what were the causes of the cirrhosis? For this we have one mnemonic, that is ABCDE, and forget about F and G, and then HIW. So A stands for alcoholic liver disease, and A for autoimmune hepatitis, B for biliary disease, C for cryptogenic cirrhosis, example non-alcoholic liver disease. So in the causes of cirrhosis include both alcoholic as well as non-alcoholic liver disease. D for drug induced, which lead to anti-ALCAM2 antibody, and E for enzyme deficiency, that is alpha-1 antitrypsin deficiency. H stands for hepatitis, and I we can make the H. So H for hemochromatosis, and W for Wilson disease. So these were the causes of the cirrhosis. Now next one is the alcoholic liver disease. So what were the stages in the alcoholic liver disease? So due to the alcohol, due to the fatty liver, and fatty liver may be fatty liver may be microvesicular steatosis or macrovesicular steatosis. So fatty liver is known as steatosis, and it is due to microvesicular or it is maybe macrovesicular. Micro is seen in fatty liver of pregnancy and Reye's syndrome. So in these two conditions we see the microvesicular steatosis, while macro is seen in HCV, diabetes mellitus, and PEM. So in these conditions we see the steatosis. Steatosis convert into the steatohepatitis, and in steatohepatitis on microscopic examination we see the Mallory-Hyaline bodies. And in this cytokeratin 8/18 is involving. Please remember this point. And steatohepatitis is convert into the cirrhosis. Now as we see, these were the Mallory-Hyaline bodies. This pinkish material is Mallory-Hyaline bodies. Now as we see here, this is the normal liver, and in the normal liver we see that it is highly eosinophilic because of increase of mitochondria is there, and these were the fatty cells as we see here. Now Mallory-Hyaline bodies were the conditions in which we see the Mallory-Hyaline bodies. So Mallory-Hyaline bodies were seen in the alcoholic liver disease, and for it the mnemonic is New Indian Watch. N stands for non-alcoholic liver disease, I stands for Indian childhood disease, W stands for Wilson disease, A stands for alpha-1 antitrypsin deficiency, T stands for tumors of the liver, C stands for cholestasis, while the S stands for hepatic or biliary disease, that is PBC and PSC. Now next one is the non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. For the non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, the causes were diabetes mellitus, hypertension, obesity, or due to increase in triglyceride. And here also as similar to the alcoholic liver disease, for the non-alcoholic fatty liver disease the stages were like non-alcoholic steatosis, non-alcoholic steatohepatitis, and cirrhosis. So in non-alcoholic steatohepatitis we see the Mallory-Hyaline bodies. So here for the AST and ALT ratio we check, and in non-alcoholic fatty liver disease the AST by ALT ratio is less than 1, while in the alcoholic liver disease the AST by ALT ratio is more than 2. Please remember this is the differentiating point between alcoholic and non-alcoholic liver disease, that in alcoholic liver disease the ratio is more than 2, while in the non-alcoholic the ratio is less than 1. Now for diagnosis we do the biopsy, and the most common cause for death in non-alcoholic liver disease is heart complication, due to heart complication. Now next one is alpha antitrypsin deficiency. So alpha antitrypsin deficiency, it is autosomal recessive, because all the conditions in which we see the deficiency of enzyme, so all those conditions were into the autosomal recessive. So please remember this point, that all the enzyme deficiency work comes under the autosomal recessive. So in this the liver cirrhosis, in alpha-1 antitrypsin deficiency we find two conditions. First one is emphysema, the patient has emphysema, and also the patient have liver cirrhosis, because alpha-1 antitrypsin deficiency is the cause of the cirrhosis. So in alpha antitrypsin deficiency we find both conditions, emphysema and liver cirrhosis. For the genetic profile we see PIMM, MZ and ZZ. Z stands for the alpha-1 antitrypsin deficiency, and M is for N. M is like N, that is normal person. So normal person genetic profile is PIMM, while the alpha-1 antitrypsin deficiency profile is PIZZ. And if M and Z both are present, then it means that the person is carrier. Now next one is the hemochromatosis. Chromo means iron. So here the iron overload is seen. So in hemochromatosis there is defect in HFE gene and on the chromosome number 6. Please remember this. In hemochromatosis there is defect in HFE gene on chromosome number 6. So chromosome 6 is involvement in HLA gene and HFE gene. Now, what were the clinical features for hemochromatosis patient? So, the hemochromatosis person will come with cirrhosis. The person has cirrhosis. There is skin pigmentation is seen, and if there is skin pigmentation, the most common reason is melanin, due to the melanin as compared to the hemosiderin. So, most common is due to melanin, and the skin pigmentation is there, that's why the patient color is bronze, and there is a decrease in insulin which lead to the diabetes. So we also called it bronze diabetes. Because there is decrease of insulin level in the hemochromatosis, and also there is deposition of melanin, so that's why it is known as pigmented skin. So bronze diabetes. For the diagnosis of hemochromatosis, we do the liver biopsy, and we can also stain it, we stain it by Prussian blue stain, because this is the stain for iron. So iron, the stain for iron is Prussian blue stain, or we can say pulse stain. Please remember this question. The stain for iron is Prussian blue stain or pulse stain. For the treatment of choice, we do the phlebotomy, and for the drug of choice, we have to decrease the level of iron. That's why we give the iron chelators, and example is desferoxamine. Now next one is the Wilson disease. So Wilson disease, there is mutation in ATP7B gene. Please remember this, it is 7B, not the 7A gene. And in this we find the decreased level of ceruloplasmin. So because ceruloplasmin combined, both ceruloplasmin and copper both were combined together, so if ceruloplasmin is decreased, it means the copper level is increased in blood. So here the copper is increased in blood, and it gets deposited in three places, like the liver, in the brain, and in the eye. And the eye, basically it at the place of Descemet membrane of cornea. So in the Descemet membrane of cornea, copper gets deposited, and when it gets deposited, it show the KF ring. And for the treatment of Wilson disease, we give the copper chelation, means we have to decrease the copper. Next one is the hepatic tumor. For the hepatic tumor, the most common liver malignancy is metastasis, as I already told you so many times that the most common cause for hepatic tumors were metastasis. Now the benign tumors were cavernous hemangioma or hepatic adenoma. For the cavernous hemangioma, the most common is benign tumor of the liver. So cavernous hemangioma is the most common benign tumor of the liver, and the hepatic adenoma is with OCP uses, means oral contraceptive pills uses. Hepatic adenoma occurs due to OCP uses, and cavernous hemangioma is the most common benign tumor. Now the malignant tumors of the liver were HCC, hepatoblastoma, and angiosarcoma. Angiosarcoma is the most common sarcoma. So angiosarcoma is most common sarcoma, and hepatocellular carcinoma is most common malignant tumor of the liver. So the most common benign tumor is cavernous hemangioma, and the most common malignant tumor of liver is hepatocellular carcinoma, and the most common sarcoma is angiosarcoma. Overall, most common sarcoma, angiosarcoma, malignant tumor is hepatocellular carcinoma, and benign tumor is cavernous hemangioma. Hepatoblastoma, blast means it is the most common malignancy of liver in children. So in the children, the most common malignant tumor is hepatoblastoma, and the most common malignant tumor of liver is hepatocellular carcinoma, and overall most common sarcoma is angiosarcoma, and angiosarcoma is due to VAT, that is due to vinyl chloride, due to arsenic, and due to thorotrust. We can remember angiosarcoma is due to VAT, that is vinyl chloride, arsenic, and thorotrust. What were the risk factors of hepatocellular carcinoma? So these were the risk factors for hepatocellular carcinoma, that is aflatoxin, which is found in the peanuts. So peanut contamination, we found the aflatoxins, and hepatitis B virus, C virus, tyrosinemia, and cirrhosis. These were the risk factors for the hepatocellular carcinoma. Now there is variant of the hepatocellular carcinoma, that is fibrolamellar carcinoma. Now let's see the difference between HCC and its variant, that is fibrolamellar carcinoma. So HCC is associated with hepatitis B and C, while fibrolamellar is not associated with hepatitis B or C. In the hepatocellular carcinoma, females were most commonly it is found in most commonly in the females, while fibrolamellar carcinoma, it is equal for both male and female. Now, the tumor marker for HCC is alpha fetoprotein, while the tumor marker for fibrolamellar carcinoma is neurotensin. Please remember it. It is a previous year question that the tumor marker for fibrolamellar carcinoma is neurotensin, while for the HCC the tumor marker is alpha fetoprotein. Now for the hepatocellular carcinoma, it spread through the hematogenous route, while the fibrolamellar carcinoma spread to the lymphatic spread. All the carcinoma spread through the lymphatics, but it is an exception of the hepatocellular carcinoma that it spread to the hematogenous route. So HCC spread through hematogenous while the fibrolamellar spread through lymphatic. Now there is one miscellaneous question that what is the picture of this? So this is a nutmeg liver because there is chronic venous congestion, we see here. So this is a morphology of the nutmeg liver. So this is a nutmeg liver due to chronic venous congestion. So this is the topic all about the liver pathology. I hope you all get some benefit of this video, and thank you.